Have you ever paused to consider the silent architects behind decisions that shape your life?
Hmm.
Perhaps an AI system suggested, a complex medical diagnosis guiding a critical health choice.
Right, or something seemingly simpler, like a loan application.
Exactly. Or maybe an algorithm assessed your loan application, determining a fundamental financial opportunity. In those pivotal moments, did you ever wonder about the intricate, invisible threads weaving through these AI-driven outcomes?
It's a good question. How much does it really know?
Yeah, how much does an AI truly know about you? And more profoundly, who stands as its guardian, ensuring it acts fairly, transparently, and safely?
Who's watching the watchers, so to speak, or watching the algorithms in this case?
Precisely. We live in an age where powerful new digital cities are being built all around us, these intelligent systems that learn, decide, and increasingly influence our world.
That's a great way to put it, like digital cities.
But like any burgeoning metropolis, we need to ensure these AI cities have robust foundations, ethical zoning laws, and clear safety protocols.
Absolutely essential infrastructure, if you will.
So today on the deep dive, we're handing you the architectural plans. We're dissecting the very blueprints that aim to ensure AI systems are built for human flourishing, not digital chaos.
Getting into the nitty-gritty.
Our mission is to cut through the complexity and give you a clear, thorough understanding of some absolutely critical aspects of artificial intelligence.
Okay.
We're embarking on a deep dive into a foundational industry framework, the AAISM Review Manual, specifically its crucial section on privacy, ethical, trust, and safety controls in AI.
That's Chapter 1, Part D, for those following along with the manual, a really core section.
Exactly. Think of us as your expert guides, navigating these vital areas one by one. We'll unpack each cornerstone, building your understanding block by block, focusing not just on what these controls are, but why they're absolutely essential for a responsible AI future and how they practically impact your everyday digital life.
That why is so important.
It really is. As AI continues to weave itself deeper into the fabric of our daily existence, from how we discover information to how our cities are managed, understanding its potential for unintended harms, and, crucially, how to control that potential becomes paramount.
It's a compelling metaphor, thinking of AI as a city. And what's truly fascinating here, if we sort of extend that idea, is how these foundational concepts, privacy, trust, and safety, aren't isolated structures. They're not separate buildings.
Okay. Interconnected.
Deeply interconnected, yes.
Well.
They form a holistic approach to ensuring AI benefits society while systematically minimizing risks. We're moving beyond just understanding the what of AI, its capabilities and applications, to critically examining the how.
How we manage its impact.
Exactly, how we manage its profound impact. This framework we're drawing from really emphasizes this interconnectedness. It actually illustrates the broad spectrum of potential harms related to AI systems. Figure 3.15 in the source does this. And it distills these potential harms into three distinct yet often overlapping categories. Harm to an individual, harm to an organization, and harm to an entire ecosystem.
That's a crucial breakdown because it helps us grasp the sheer scale of AI's reach, doesn't it?
It really does. It frames the problem space.
So let's delve into that first category, harm to an individual. When we talk about AI's personal impact, it's not just theoretical, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. It's very real.
Imagine an algorithm unfairly denying you a loan, not because of your actual credit history, but due to some lens-seen, insidious bias lurking within its training data.
Right.
Perhaps it disproportionately penalizes applicants from certain zip codes, maybe mirroring historical socioeconomic inequities.
And that happens. We've seen documented cases. It isn't a hypothetical fear. We've seen real-world instances where AI, inadvertently or not, perpetuates and even amplifies systemic discrimination.
In areas like hiring.
Hiring, housing, even criminal justice sentencing. It's pervasive.
Wow. So the bias gets baked right in.
Exactly. Or consider privacy violations. An AI system might inadvertently expose highly sensitive personal health data or financial records.
How? Not necessarily through a direct hack.
Not always. It could be through a complex inference. Imagine disparate pieces of supposedly anonymized data. When they're combined by a powerful AI, suddenly they can re-identify an individual.
So the sum is more revealing than the parts.
Precisely. This underscores that privacy in the AI era isn't just about protecting your name or address. It's about guarding against the re-identification and misuse of any data that can paint a picture of you.
That's a subtle but really important distinction.
It is. And beyond that, there's the potential for manipulation.
Manipulation, like what?
Well, imagine an AI-driven feed subtly nudging your opinions, maybe exploiting cognitive biases that we all have to influence purchasing
Or
decisions.
even political views.
Or even political views, yes. And in the most extreme cases with autonomous systems, you have the risk of direct physical harm.
Like with self-driving cars.
We've seen tragic examples with autonomous vehicles where unforeseen edge cases led to accidents. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're very real, tangible risks that directly impact every person interacting with AI, often without their full awareness.
That paints a stark picture for the individual. And the ripple effect doesn't stop there, right? When AI goes awry, organizations face significant vulnerabilities too.
Absolutely. The damage can be immediate and, frankly, severe. Consider financial loss. A flawed AI-driven investment algorithm could misinterpret market signals.
Leading to huge losses.
Millions or even billions in losses for a financial institution. Or think about a poorly designed AI customer service bot if it misinterprets customer needs constantly.
You get widespread dissatisfaction, maybe even penalties.
Exactly. Widespread dissatisfaction, customer churn, and eventual financial penalties from disgruntled customers or regulators. Then there's reputational damage.
That can be hard to quantify, but massive.
Immense. If an AI system is found to be deeply biased, making unfair decisions about job applicants or loan recipients, the public backlash can be huge. It severely damages a brand's trustworthiness and market standing.
And rebuilding that trust.
The costs of rebuilding that reputation often far outweigh the initial investment needed for responsible AI practices. It's just not worth cutting corners.
And the legal landscape around AI is still evolving, which must add another layer of risk for organizations.
Precisely. Organizations face clear legal and regulatory non-compliance risks, especially with the rapid evolution of global privacy laws like GDPR in Europe.
Or CCPA in California.
Exactly. And new AI-specific regulations emerging worldwide. Missteps in AI data handling can lead to hefty fines, legal challenges, extensive audits. It's a minefield if you're not careful.
And security. Is AI itself a security risk?
It can be, absolutely.
Yes.
There's the ever-present threat of security breaches. An AI system that is not properly secured, maybe has vulnerabilities in its training data or its inference engine, could become a major attack vector for an entire enterprise.
So attackers could target the AI.
Yes. Adversarial attacks are a growing concern. This is where malicious actors subtly manipulate AI inputs, maybe changing just a few pixels in an image that a human wouldn't notice to force incorrect outputs.
Turning the asset into a liability.
A profound liability, exactly.
So we've got individual harm, organizational harm, and then there's this macro level, harm to an entire ecosystem. This is where the implications get truly broad, almost societal.
Yes, this is where the really profound societal implications come into view. Think about systemic bias becoming deeply embedded in crucial societal systems.
Like what kind of systems?
Resource allocation, urban planning, even judicial sentencing. If AI models used for these things are trained on biased historical data,
They just learn the bias.
they learn it, perpetuate it, and often amplify those inequities across entire populations. It can lead to a kind of digital redlining or algorithmic discrimination that impacts generations.
So it's not just about one person being treated unfairly.
No, it's about fundamental fairness across society itself. Then there's the risk of market destabilization.
How could AI destabilize markets?
Imagine AI-driven trading algorithms operating at machine speed, milliseconds. If they suddenly encounter an unforeseen anomaly, maybe a black swan event they weren't trained for, and they all react in the same way.
They could trigger a crash.
They could trigger rapid unforeseen economic shifts, causing widespread market crashes before human intervention is even possible. The speed is the issue there.
And what about the geopolitical scale? Does it reach that far?
On a global scale, the implications are equally profound, potentially. AI could be weaponized or used in ways that threaten national or international stability.
Like cyber warfare, autonomous weapons.
Sophisticated cyber warfare, autonomous weapon systems. These are active areas of development and concern. Also, the widespread adoption of AI without proper safety protocols could lead to unforeseen environmental consequences.
Environmental, how so?
Well, the energy demands of training these very large AI models are enormous and continue to soar. It's a significant environmental footprint.
Right, so managing AI responsibly isn't just like good corporate practice.
It's becoming an existential imperative for our collective future. It absolutely demands a comprehensive framework of controls, which is what this part of the manual really focuses on.
That overview really sets a powerful stage for our deep dive into the controls themselves. So let's really unpack that first pillar you mentioned, privacy.
Okay.
When we talk about AI and privacy, what exactly are we referring to? Is it just about keeping my name and address safe, or does it go deeper, especially with AI?
Yeah, you've hit on a critical point there. Privacy in the context of AI indeed extends well beyond what we traditionally consider PII, personal identifiable information like your name or address.
Okay.
It's about meticulously managing and protecting all data used by AI systems, with a particular emphasis on personal data, of course, but throughout its entire life cycle.
Love cycle. You mean from start to finish?
Exactly. From collection and processing through to storage, use, and eventual secure destruction. And crucially, this fundamentally requires explicit, informed individual consent for the use of their data.
Informed consent, not just clicking agree blindly.
Precisely. It's not merely about checking boxes for regulatory compliance like GDPR or CCPA, though that's essential too. It's about embedding a philosophy of responsible data handling directly into the DNA of an AI system,
So right from the beginning.
right from its initial design through development, deployment, and its ongoing operation. And this also means these AI privacy practices must align seamlessly with the broader organizational data management policies.
So AI doesn't become its own little data island.
Exactly. You want consistency, preventing AI systems from becoming isolated, potentially vulnerable data silos.
So it's a foundational, holistic approach to data right from the get-go. What are the core principles that guide this AI privacy according to the framework we're looking at?
The framework highlights several core principles. First, as we just touched on, there's that essential alignment with broader data management policies.
Right, fitting into the bigger picture.
Yes. This ensures AI doesn't operate in a vacuum, but adheres to the organization's overarching data governance strategy, promotes consistency, reduces fragmentation risks.
Makes sense. What's next?
Second, there's a strong, unwavering emphasis on legal obligations. Regulations like GDPR in Europe or CCPA here in the US are crucial.
Because they set the baseline.
They set a critical baseline. And they enforce principles like data minimization.
Meaning only collect what you absolutely need.
Exactly. AI systems should only collect and process the absolute minimum data necessary for a specific stated purpose, no data hoarding,
Okay.
and closely related is purpose limitation. This ensures that data is used only for the purpose it was collected for, with explicit consent.
So you can't just collect it for reason A and then use it for reason B later without asking.
Not without getting fresh, specific consent. That's a key protection.
That sounds like it requires a lot of discipline in how organizations handle data collection and use. What about the technical side of protecting the data itself?
Good question. On the technical side, the third principle is about implementing strong encryption and de-identification techniques.
Like scrambling the data.
Encryption scrambles it, yes, making it unreadable without the key. But de-identification goes further. This could involve anonymizing data so individuals cannot be identified even if the data set is somehow breached.
So stripping out names, addresses.
Yes, but it often needs to be more sophisticated than that because combinations of other data points can sometimes re-identify people.
Right, the inference problem again.
Exactly. So more advanced techniques like differential privacy are becoming important. This adds statistical noise to data sets.
Noise, like static.
Sort of. It mathematically obscures individual data points while still allowing for accurate analysis of the whole group, the aggregate,
Ah, okay, so you could find out the average income in a city.
without being able to pinpoint any single person's specific income. Differential privacy lets you get that aggregate insight without compromising individual privacy. These technical measures are crucial layers of protection.
That sounds like it gives a lot of power back to the individual, even when they're interacting with these incredibly complex systems.
That's precisely the goal.
Speaking of individuals, the source material AAISM manual explicitly lists several key rights people have regarding their data in AI systems. These seem fundamental.
They absolutely are. These rights are explicitly designed to empower you as an individual in an AI-driven world, ensuring you retain agency over your digital self.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is the right to access. This means you can formally ask an organization what personal data an AI system holds about you.
Just ask them.
Yes, and crucially, also why it's being processed. It's like having a window into your own digital file that they hold. Transparency.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Then there's the right to rectification. This gives you the indispensable ability to correct any inaccurate personal data that an AI might be using.
So if they have my address wrong or something more serious.
Exactly. And this is vital because if the foundational data is wrong, Any AI decision based on it, whether it's a medical diagnosis or loan approval, could be fundamentally flawed and unfairly impact you. Garbage in, garbage out applies to AI too.
Absolutely. And then there's the right to be forgotten. That sounds incredibly powerful. Can
Yeah.
you really just erase your digital footprint?
It is indeed powerful, and it's a cornerstone of modern privacy laws like GDPR. That's the right to erasure.
Okay.
That means you can, in certain specific circumstances, demand that your personal data be deleted from an AI system's records and any associated databases.
Why, certain circumstances, not always.
Well, there can be exceptions. For example, the data is needed for legal obligations or public health reasons. But generally, it's a strong right. It's critical for maintaining control over your digital footprint, especially when you no longer wish for your data to be processed. Closely related is the right to restrict processing. This allows you to limit how an AI uses your personal data, even if it's not entirely deleted.
How does that work?
For instance, you might consent to your data being used for one specific purpose, maybe improving a voice assistant's accuracy, but you could restrict it from being used for another purpose, like targeted advertising based on your voice patterns.
Ah, so more granular control.
Exactly. More fine-grained control over the how.
And what about portability? Can I really take my data with me if I switch services, like moving my photos from one platform to another, but for AI data?
Yes, that's precisely what the right to data portability enables. It gives you the powerful right to obtain your personal data in a structured, commonly used, and machine-readable format.
So like a standard file type.
Right. And crucially, to transmit that data to another organization without hindrance. This truly empowers you to switch services or consolidate your data more easily.
That fosters competition too, I imagine.
It does. It gives you greater control over where your digital identity resides. Next, there's the right to object to processing.
Objecting. How is that different from restricting?
Objecting is generally stronger. It allows you to oppose certain AI data processing activities altogether, particularly those an organization might claim are based on their legitimate interests or for direct marketing. You have the right to say, no, stop processing my data for this purpose.
Okay, got it.
And the final one listed here, this right to not be subject to automated decisions. Feels like it goes right to the heart of AI's burgeoning power. It challenges the very notion of purely algorithmic judgment making decisions about us.
What does that mean in practice?
It certainly does strike at the core and is perhaps one of the most critical rights in an AI-driven world. It means you have the ability to challenge and, importantly, request human intervention for decisions made solely by AI systems.
Solely by AI, so no human oversight at all.
Right, when the decision is fully automated, especially if that decision has significant legal or similarly impactful effects on you.
Like getting rejected for a job automatically.
Exactly. Imagine an AI system automatically rejecting your job application without any human review, or an algorithm deciding your eligibility for vital social services. This right ensures that there's always a potential for a human in the loop.
So you can ask for a person to look at it.
Yes, it provides an avenue for appeal, for explanation, and ultimately ensures that complex, high-stakes decisions impacting your life aren't left entirely to an algorithm's potentially opaque logic.
So pulling all these rights together, what does this really mean for someone just, using an AI-powered service every day?
It means you have profound agency over your digital self, even when interacting with these incredibly complex and pervasive AI systems. It's fundamentally about ensuring AI serves human interests and human values, not the other way around. You have rights.
That's empowering. Okay, so beyond these core principles and individual rights, our source, the AAISM manual, also highlights some specific, maybe less obvious AI-related privacy considerations that organizations need to grapple with. It sounds like it gets into the practical nitty-gritty.
Absolutely. It moves from the what to the how for organizations. One key consideration mentioned is the vital need for clear, robust data processing agreements between AI solution providers, the vendors, and the organizations actually deploying them.
So the contracts between the AI company and the business using the AI.
Exactly. Think of these as legally binding contracts that explicitly define responsibilities for data handling, security, and privacy compliance. Who is responsible for what?
Why is that so critical?
Because it's not enough to simply integrate an AI tool. You need to thoroughly understand and formally agree on how data flows, how it's processed, and how it's protected within that interaction. Without these clear agreements, accountability can become fragmented, leaving individuals and organizations vulnerable if something goes wrong.
Okay, clarity on responsibility. What else?
Another crucial point is addressing emergency change management procedures, specifically for AI systems.
Emergency changes, like urgent software patches.
Yes, but potentially more complex with AI. Because AI models are dynamic, maybe constantly learning or being updated with new data or algorithms, there's an inherent risk of unforeseen data leakage or corruption during emergency changes, system rollbacks, or even routine updates.
So a quick fix could break privacy.
It could. Imagine an emergency patch being deployed to fix a performance issue, but it inadvertently exposes a sensitive customer database because a permission wasn't set correctly in the rush. Robust, predefined procedures are absolutely essential to prevent this.
Procedures specifically for AI changes.
Yes, ensuring that data integrity and privacy are maintained even under pressure and during those high-stress operational moments.
That makes perfect sense. It's like if you're updating traditional software, you have meticulous protocols. AI needs that, but maybe with an added layer of complexity because of the data and the learning aspects.
Precisely. And this leads directly to another important consideration mentioned: ensuring AI systems are not part of a closed system that could lead to data leakage.
What does closed system mean here, like locked down?
It could imply a lack of transparency, maybe insufficient external oversight, or inadequate monitoring. In such a scenario, data could potentially be misused, extracted, or escape detection more easily.
So openness is better for privacy in this case.
Transparency and monitoring are key. The framework emphasizes the critical importance of continuous monitoring, not just tracking the AI's performance accuracy, but specifically looking for and addressing any potential data leakage points or anomalies in data access patterns.
So constantly watching how data is being used.
Yes, the crucial question always remains: what comprehensive protections are in place to ensure data leakage is proactively identified and addressed throughout the AI's operational life? This demands ongoing vigilance, sophisticated security tools, and a real commitment to transparency regarding data flows within the entire AI ecosystem.
Okay, so we've talked quite a bit about what AI privacy entails and the powerful rights individuals have. Understanding what it means for us, those rights to access, rectify, erase, naturally leads us to the crucial question. How do organizations actually put these principles into practice?
Right, the implementation.
How do they build privacy into the very DNA of their AI systems? This framework, AAISM's guide, really crystallizes this with specific controls designed to protect us. What are they?
These controls are the practical, actionable mechanisms. They're how you embed privacy directly into AI systems, ideally from their inception. The first significant control listed is establishing and evaluating an AI code of conduct.
A code of conduct like corporate values, but for AI.
Sort of, but it needs to be more specific and actionable than just a mission statement. It's about setting clear, operational, ethical guidelines and principles for all AI development and deployment within an organization.
So rules for the developers and deployers?
Exactly. It's a foundational document that dictates how AI systems should behave, especially concerning data usage, privacy, and fairness. It ensures that everyone involved, from data scientists to product managers to the legal team, understands their responsibilities and the ethical guardrails.
So it guides behavior internally.
Yes, it moves beyond just bare minimum legal compliance to a proactive stance on responsible AI behavior. It defines the organization's values for AI.
So it's not just about what's legally required, but what's morally and ethically sound for the organization's AI practices, almost like an internal constitution for AI.
That's a great way to think about it. Exactly. It's about defining the organizational values that govern AI, creating that culture of responsibility from the top down and bottom up.
Okay, what's the next control?
The second control mentioned is implementing AI systems adhering to standards.
Standards, like technical standards.
It can include technical standards, but it's broader. It means ensuring AI systems comply with established industry or regulatory standards for things like health, safety, environmental impact, and fundamental human rights.
Can you give an example?
Sure. An AI system used in medical diagnostics must meet stringent health and safety standards, maybe from the FDA or equivalent bodies, to protect patients. If an AI is used in controlling manufacturing robots, it needs to adhere to established industrial safety protocols.
So fitting AI into existing safety frameworks.
Precisely. This points to a broader accountability framework, ensuring that AI development isn't solely focused on functionality or efficiency, but also considers its wider societal and environmental responsibility. It ensures AI fits into the existing regulatory landscape for critical applications, rather than operating outside it.
Makes sense. And the third control mentioned here is evaluating environmental impact. How does that specifically tie into privacy controls? It feels a bit broader, almost surprising to see it listed right here.
It is an interesting and, I think, increasingly relevant point. And yeah, it might seem counterintuitive to bundle it directly under privacy at first glance.
Right.
While it's not directly about your individual personal data being exposed, the idea of evaluating environmental impact of AI systems touches on a larger, evolving philosophy of responsible AI.
How so?
Think about it. Training just one single large AI model, especially the massive language models we hear so much about, can consume an enormous amount of energy.
Like comparable to households.
Yes, sometimes as much energy as several homes use in a year, or even more. This immense computational power and energy consumption have a significant environmental footprint, often relying on data centers that draw heavily from power grids, which might not always be green.
Okay, but how does that link back to privacy?
Well, while it's not about your personal data directly, an organization genuinely serious about responsible AI often connects these dots. It's about recognizing the full footprint of AI. The thinking is, if an organization is conscientious about its environmental impact, that commitment to sustainability often signals a deeper, more holistic commitment to ethical practices across the board, including how they handle your sensitive data.
Ah, I see. So it's like a proxy indicator for overall corporate responsibility.
Kind of. It suggests an organization is thinking holistically about its impact, its resource consumption, its place in the world, rather than just narrowly ticking compliance boxes for privacy regulations alone. It's part of a bigger picture of ethical operation.
That's a fascinating connection. So all these controls, the code of conduct, adhering to standards, even environmental impact, how do organizations move from just like writing these down to making them real? How do they become tangible, auditable controls?
Yeah, that's the critical step.
Yeah.
Moving from aspiration to operation. It really comes down to embedding privacy by design, right from the initial conception of an AI system.
Privacy by design, meaning building it in, not bolting it on later.
Exactly. It means privacy considerations aren't an afterthought or a checkbox exercise done just before launch. They are woven into the very architecture and design of AI systems from the very beginning.
What does that look like in practice?
It involves crucial steps like conducting thorough privacy impact assessments before development even begins, proactively identifying risks. It means choosing and using privacy-enhancing technologies, PETs, like differential privacy or secure multi-party computation where appropriate.
So technical choices made early on.
Yes, and ensuring transparency about data practices from the outset, clearly communicating with users. It fundamentally transforms privacy from a mere compliance step into an inherent non-negotiable feature of the AI system itself. It's baked in.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Shifting gears a bit now, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The next pillar in the framework, trust.
Ah, yes, trust.
Crucial. Why is trust such a critical concept when we talk about AI? It feels almost softer, maybe less tangible than privacy or safety, but this framework places it squarely as a core pillar.
That's a perfect observation. It might feel softer, but trust is absolutely paramount.
Why, though? Why so important?
Because AI systems are increasingly making decisions with profound real-world impacts on individuals, organizations, and society. Think about an AI deciding on your job application, setting your insurance premium, influencing your medical diagnosis, or even controlling critical infrastructure.
Okay, high-stakes decisions.
Very high stakes. If people, whether they are end users, regulators, or the general public, don't understand how these decisions are made, if the process feels opaque, like a black box, or unfair, or simply inexplicable, then confidence just evaporates.
And that lack of trust has real consequences.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not just an abstract problem. It directly hinders the widespread adoption and beneficial integration of AI into society. No matter how powerful or efficient an AI system might be technically, its utility is severely limited if nobody trusts it enough to use it or rely on it.
It's like needing to understand your doctor's reasoning, not just blindly accepting a diagnosis, like you said earlier. It's not enough for an AI to be smart. It also has to be trustworthy.
That's a perfect analogy, and you're spot on. That trustworthiness is key.
So, if trust is the goal, what are the key components that actually build this trust in AI systems, according to the framework? What makes an AI trustworthy?
The framework highlights several key interconnected components that build trust. First, there's transparency.
Transparency, meaning we can see inside.
Essentially, yes. It refers to having a clear understanding of how AI systems operate, what data they ingest, how they process it, and crucially, how they arrive at their decisions or predictions. If the inner workings of an AI are a black box,
Then you can't check anything.
exactly, it's impossible for users or auditors to verify its fairness, its security, or its reliability. Users need some level of assurance that there aren't hidden mechanisms or unfair biases at play, particularly when those high-stakes decisions are involved.
Okay, transparency is seeing how it works. What's next?
Closely related but distinct is explainability.
Explainability, so it can tell us why.
Precisely. This is the ability to articulate why an AI reached a particular conclusion or made a specific recommendation, and to do so in a way that is human understandable.
Not just spitting out code or complex math.
Right. It directly combats that black box problem we just discussed. For example, if an AI denies a loan application, an explainable AI system should ideally be able to tell the applicant which factors led to that decision.
Like, your debt-to-income ratio was too high or insufficient credit history.
Exactly, something concrete. This provides a clear basis for understanding, for potentially challenging the decision, or for taking steps to rectify the situation. It turns a frustrating computer says no scenario into an actionable insight.
And that builds trust because it feels less arbitrary.
Absolutely. Without explainability, distrust is almost inevitable because the decisions feel random or opaque.
Okay, transparency and explainability. Then there's the big one, accountability. If an AI makes a mistake or causes harm, who's ultimately responsible? That feels like a huge part of trust.
You're absolutely right. That's accountability. And it's a foundational pillar of trust. Establishing clear lines of responsibility for who is, as you say, on the hook when an AI makes a harmful or incorrect decision is crucial.
Because someone has to be, right?
Someone or some entity needs to be accountable. Is it the data scientist who trained the model? The company that deployed it? The organization that provided the potentially flawed data? Or some combination?
It could be complicated.
It can be very complicated, which is why defining it clearly is so important. Clear lines of accountability encourage more responsible design, testing, and deployment practices because developers and deployers know that there are real consequences for failures.
And it gives people recourse if they're harmed.
Exactly. It provides recourse for individuals who are negatively impacted, which is vital for maintaining public confidence and ensuring fairness.
Okay. And the last component mentioned here for trust.
And finally, a major component related to trust, and often the source of significant societal concern, is addressing unrepresentativeness and bias.
Bias again. We touched on this with individual harm.
Yes, because it directly erodes trust. AI models are inherently trained on data. And if that data is unrepresentative of the actual population the AI will interact with, or if it contains historical human biases,
The AI learns those biases.
it learns them, internalizes them, and often, due to the scale and speed of AI, it can amplify those biases. This can lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes against certain populations or demographics.
Can you give another example?
Think of a facial recognition system that consistently performs poorly on darker skin tones because its training dataset was overwhelmingly composed of light-skinned faces. Or a hiring algorithm that learns to prefer candidates who resemble past successful employees, inadvertently discriminating against qualified candidates from different backgrounds.
That's clearly unfair and untrustworthy.
Deeply untrustworthy. Trust can only be built if users believe the AI is fair, equitable, and impartial in its decisions, accurately reflecting the true populations and diverse scenarios it serves, not just perpetuating past inequalities.
So pulling it together, building trust isn't just some vague goal. It really requires these concrete things: transparency, explainability, accountability, and tackling bias.
Exactly. It necessitates that transparency and explainability are not just desirable features, nice to haves, but foundational requirements embedded in the design and operation of AI systems.
Because if it's a black box,
If an AI system's inner workings remain a black box, it's practically impossible to verify its fairness, its security, or its overall reliability. This opaqueness leads directly to perceived risk and ultimately a significant lack of adoption. People simply won't use, or shouldn't use, systems they don't understand or trust, especially when those systems affect their livelihoods, their well-being, or their fundamental rights. It's about building confidence through verifiable clarity and demonstrable integrity.
okay, that lays out the case for trust very clearly. Now, beyond privacy and trust, we come to the next pillar: safety. What does AI safety truly entail, and why is it distinct yet equally vital in this responsible AI framework? It sounds like it goes beyond just, preventing physical accidents.
AI safety is indeed a comprehensive concept, and you're right, it's broader than just physical harm. It encompasses the prevention of both physical and non-physical harm that could arise from AI systems.
Okay, physical safety is pretty clear, like,
Like ensuring an autonomous vehicle doesn't cause accidents, or a robotic arm in a factory doesn't injure a worker, or a medical AI doesn't recommend a harmful treatment. That's immediately intuitive.
right. But what about non-physical safety? What falls under that?
Non-physical safety is equally critical, though perhaps less obvious sometimes. This relates to broader societal impacts. Things like significant job displacement due to automation, if it happens without adequate societal transitions or support for workers.
So economic harm?
Economic harm, yes. Or the psychological effects of AI on users. Think about addiction to recommendation algorithms designed to maximize engagement, or the potential for algorithmic manipulation of opinions and beliefs, or even increased polarization.
So mental well-being, societal cohesion.
Exactly. It's about ensuring AI operates securely, reliably, and without unintended detrimental consequences, whether physical, economic, psychological, or societal, that erode well-being or stability.
So it's about making sure that AI performs as intended and doesn't inadvertently cause negative ripple effects, physical or social. What are the key safety considerations the framework highlights for building genuinely safe AI systems?
That's precisely the goal. The framework emphasizes several key considerations for AI safety. First, and perhaps most obviously, preventing consequences is paramount.
Preventing bad outcomes.
Right. This involves implementing robust, proactive controls specifically designed to prevent any unintended or harmful outcomes from AI actions, whether those are due to errors in the AI, malicious attacks against it, or unforeseen emergent behaviors that arise from complexity.
So building in safety nets.
Exactly. Designing AI with comprehensive failure modes and safety nets built right in. Think of it like engineering a bridge. You design it not just to stand under normal load, but to withstand earthquakes, high winds, and unexpected stresses. You anticipate failure modes.
Okay, proactive prevention. What else?
Second, there's the concept of self-regulation. While external government regulations are important and necessary, the framework highlights the critical importance of internal mechanisms and industry best practices.
So companies policing themselves.
To a degree, yes. Organizations developing and deploying AI should proactively establish their own rigorous codes of conduct, internal review boards, red teaming processes, and safety standards to ensure responsible innovation and to prevent harm before it necessitates external intervention. It fosters a culture of safety from within.
Okay, internal standards.
Third, user expectations are critical for safety. AI systems must operate reliably and predictably in line with how users expect them to function, and their decisions, or the basis for them, should be clear and understood by the user.
This sounds like it links back to trust and explainability again.
It aligns very strongly with trust, yes. Clarity and predictability are key to perceived safety. If an AI behaves in unpredictable, opaque, or incomprehensible ways, it immediately raises significant safety concerns. It erodes user confidence and could potentially lead to misuse or accidents if people don't understand its limitations or behavior.
Makes sense. What's next?
Then we have reliability and robustness. These are core engineering principles applied to AI. AI systems must be dependable, consistent in their performance, and resilient.
Resilient to what?
Resilient to errors, resilient to unexpected or novel inputs that weren't in the training data, and resilient to malicious attacks trying to fool it. A truly safe AI is one that can consistently perform its intended functions under various conditions, even adverse ones, without failing catastrophically, being easily compromised, or generating unsafe outputs.
Including those adversarial attacks you mentioned earlier.
Yes, this includes protection against subtle data poisoning that corrupts the training data, or adversarial attacks at inference time, where minor, unnoticeable changes to inputs can trigger major, incorrect, and potentially unsafe outputs. Robustness is key defense here.
Okay. And security, is that separate from safety?
Security is listed as another non-negotiable component. It's deeply intertwined with safety, but focuses specifically on protecting AI systems from malicious threats.
Like hacking the AI.
Yes, or data poisoning attacks that corrupt training data, model evasion attacks that trick the AI into misclassifying things, or even model stealing, where attackers try to replicate or steal a valuable proprietary AI model. Securing the AI system itself, its data, and its infrastructure is absolutely fundamental to its overall safety.
Because a compromised AI is inherently unsafe.
Exactly. A compromised AI system can quickly become a powerful tool for harm, whether it's causing financial damage, spreading disinformation rapidly, or impacting critical infrastructure control systems.
Got it. Anything else under safety considerations?
Yes. Importantly, the framework reinforces data privacy and fairness as integral components of overall AI safety.
So privacy and fairness aren't just ethical concerns, they're safety concerns too.
That's the perspective here, yes. As we discussed earlier, privacy violations and biased outcomes can cause significant non-physical harm. They can lead to discrimination, undermine public trust, and potentially violate fundamental human rights. These are not treated as separate issues, but are seen as intrinsically woven into the fabric of what constitutes a safe AI system.
So safety has social and ethical dimensions too.
Absolutely. It demonstrates that safety extends beyond just preventing physical harm. And finally, explainability resurfaces here again, particularly for safety-critical applications.
Why is explainability so key for safety?
Because if an AI system's decisions cannot be understood or justified, especially in high-risk fields like medical diagnosis, autonomous driving, or controlling power grids, it becomes impossible to thoroughly assess its safety before deployment. It also makes it incredibly difficult to debug errors when they occur, or to trace back failures to their root cause and rectify them.
You can't fix what you don't understand.
Exactly. This opaqueness poses a profound risk in safety-critical domains. You need to understand why it failed to prevent future failures.
Okay, that's a comprehensive list of safety considerations. Given all these, how do organizations actually supervise AI systems in practice to ensure safety? What specific controls are mentioned in the source to enable this kind of continuous oversight and vigilance?
Right, supervision is key. The framework outlines crucial controls related to AI supervision, notably through comprehensive logging, continuous monitoring, and the use of advanced observability tools. This is covered around figure 3.17 in the source.
Okay, logging and monitoring. What does that involve?
Logging and monitoring involves continuously capturing and meticulously interpreting data related to everything the AI system does. Its inputs, its internal processing steps if possible, its outputs, and its overall performance metrics over time.
So, keeping detailed records of everything.
Essentially, yes. This is especially vital for large data sets and complex models, where simple human oversight alone is completely insufficient. It allows organizations to detect anomalies, identify potentially harmful or undesirable patterns emerging, and understand if the AI is gradually drifting or veering off its intended course in real time.
Like an early warning system.
Exactly. It's like having a constant, sophisticated diagnostic check on the AI's operational pulse, capturing every significant decision or prediction it makes.
And what about observability tools? How are they different?
Building on basic logging and monitoring, AI observability and monitoring tools represent a more sophisticated suite of solutions. These are specifically designed to ensure ongoing performance, maintain the integrity of the data pipelines feeding the AI, and critically enhance explainability and interpretability.
Okay, what kind of tools are we talking about?
These tools often include several capabilities. First, data-driven monitoring. This continuously tracks the flow and statistical properties of the data being fed into the AI.
Why track the input data?
To identify issues like model drift. Model drift is a major problem. It occurs when an AI's performance degrades over time because the real-world data it encounters starts to differ significantly from the data it was originally trained on.
Like, the world changes, but the AI doesn't.
Precisely. Imagine a fraud detection AI trained on patterns from last year suddenly facing new, sophisticated fraud tactics this year. Its performance will drop unless drift is detected and the model is retrained. Data-driven monitoring catches this shift in the input data.
Okay, that's critical. What else do these tools do?
They also involve monitoring performance issues directly, tracking key metrics like accuracy, precision recall, latency, error rates, or other relevant indicators to see if the AI is not performing as expected or is becoming inefficient or slow.
So, watching the output quality.
Exactly. Ensuring the AI remains effective and responsive. Another key function is improving interpretability.
Getting inside the black box again.
Yes, using advanced model interpretability techniques. The source mentions examples like MMI, model agnostic meta-interpretability, or NN, nearest neighbor networks. But there are many others, like SAP or LIME. These are essentially sophisticated analytical tools that help us peer inside the AI's black box.
To understand the why.
Exactly. To understand why it made a specific decision, not just what the decision was. They translate complex algorithmic logic into something more human understandable, which is crucial for auditing, debugging, and building trust.
Okay. Any other tool types mentioned?
The source also mentions feature virtualization and inference instance monitoring. Feature virtualization allows for testing and observing the AI's behavior with simulated data or in controlled environments before full deployment. Inference instance monitoring then meticulously tracks its real-time behavior, inputs, and outputs for each specific prediction or decision it makes once it's operational.
So testing in simulation, then watching closely in production.
Right. This provides invaluable insights into how the AI is actually performing in the wild on a case-by-case basis.
So if we connect all this, the logging, monitoring, observability tools to the bigger picture of safety,
Yeah.
what's the overall goal?
The overall goal of these controls is to create a robust, continuous feedback loop. They're the essential mechanisms through which organizations can detect, analyze, and respond quickly when an AI system is veering off track, exhibiting unforeseen or unsafe behavior, or subtly generating harmful outcomes.
So it's not just about checking it once at launch.
Absolutely not. It's a proactive, dynamic approach to safety, moving far beyond just initial deployment checks to ongoing, real-time vigilance. This ensures that any potential harm can be identified early and mitigated swiftly, allowing for agile responses to maintain the AI's integrity and safety throughout its entire operational lifecycle.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, this leads perfectly into the final section we wanted to cover from this part of the manual, human in the loop, or HITL.
Yes, HITL, very important concept.
So if AI is becoming so incredibly smart and we're building all these sophisticated controls and monitoring systems we just discussed, why do we still need humans in the loop? It seems like the ultimate goal for many applications would be full automation, but the manual makes a very strong point of highlighting HITL.
That's an excellent and very insightful question.
Yeah.
It really gets to the core of responsible AI deployment, particularly in high-stakes or complex environments. HITL, human in the loop, is fundamentally an AI supervision strategy.
A strategy, okay.
Yes, it's where humans deliberately retain final decision-making authority, or at least a critical review and override capability. The AI system primarily provides data-driven insights, sophisticated analyses, pattern recognition, and expert recommendations.
So the AI advises, the human decides.
Often, yes, or the human verifies before action is taken. It's fundamentally not about replacing humans with AI in these contexts. It's about profoundly augmenting human capability.
Augmenting, not replacing.
Exactly. AI can process vast amounts of data, identify complex patterns hidden from human eyes, and offer potential solutions far beyond human cognitive capacity or speed in certain tasks. However,
There's always a however.
there is. What AI often lacks, especially current AI, is genuine common sense, nuanced contextual understanding based on broad life experience, deep ethical reasoning, empathy, and the ability to handle truly novel, unexpected, or ambiguous situations with the critical judgment that a human possesses.
So AI is good at patterns, humans are good at context and judgment.
That's a good way to summarize it. AI excels at data-driven tasks within its training scope. Humans excel at understanding the bigger picture, the unstated assumptions, the ethical implications, the exceptions to the rule.
So it's about smart collaboration, that not outright substitution. That feels like a paradigmatic shift, doesn't it?
It really is.
From thinking about AI as a replacement that makes us obsolete to seeing it as this powerful assistant that actually makes us better decision makers. It empowers humans to scale their capabilities without losing that critical human element.
It truly is a profound shift in perspective when implemented correctly. Recognizing AI as a tool for human flourishing and enhanced performance, rather than solely as a competitor for tasks.
So what are the specific benefits and implications of keeping humans in the loop, especially when AI is already so powerful? What does the framework highlight?
The benefits are substantial, as outlined in the source material. First, there's enhanced control.
Control over the final decision.
Yes. In critical applications, think complex medical diagnoses where patient history matters, significant financial approvals with unique circumstances, or even sensitive military or legal decision-making. Human oversight ensures that final decisions are made with a comprehensive understanding of accuracy requirements, fairness considerations, and safety implications.
So the human acts as a check.
A critical check. The human can intervene if the AI's recommendation seems statistically sound but practically nonsensical, or if it carries unforeseen ethical risks, or maybe just doesn't feel right based on their experience, something an algorithm can't do. This acts as a crucial fail-safe against algorithmic errors or biases.
Okay, enhanced control. What else?
Second, there's significant potential for organizational learning. That's a two-way street. Humans learn from the insights provided by AI, they gain new perspectives, identify efficiencies they might have missed, understand complex patterns better.
And the AI learns from the human.
Simultaneously, yes. AI systems can profoundly improve based on human feedback, corrections, and the nuanced decisions humans make in edge cases. When a human overrides an AI suggestion and explains why, that's valuable training data. This creates a powerful, virtuous symbiotic
You
relationship.
both get smarter together.
Exactly. Both human and AI intelligence evolve continuously, leading to smarter, more robust systems and more capable, AI-literate human professionals.
That's a great benefit. What's the third?
Third, it actively fosters and leads to strengthened collaboration. HITL promotes an environment where human intelligence and artificial intelligence work together seamlessly, leveraging the unique strengths of each.
Like a team.
Precisely. AI handles the heavy data lifting, the complex calculations, the pattern recognition at scale. Humans apply the judgment, the creativity, the empathy, the ethical reasoning, focusing on the higher-level, nuanced aspects of a problem that require understanding context beyond the data.
Okay. And the last major benefit.
And crucially, it's a vital strategy for risk mitigation. This ties back to safety. When an AI system exhibits unexpected or potentially unsafe behavior, makes a clear error, or encounters an edge case, a situation it wasn't really trained for, the human in the loop can intervene immediately.
Stopping harm before it happens.
Yes, preventing potential harm, correcting the course of action, and providing real-time feedback that can then be used to retrain, refine, or update the AI model. This is especially important in the early stages of AI deployment when you're still learning about its real-world behavior, or when dealing with highly complex or novel scenarios where the AI's training data might not have covered all eventualities.
So HITL acts as an essential bridge.
An essential bridge between AI's raw computational power and its responsible, safe, and effective application in the complexities of the real world. It keeps human values and judgment central to the process.
Well, we've certainly unpacked a crucial part of building responsible AI today. It feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
We definitely have. It's a dense but critical area.
We started by exploring that broad landscape of potential harms to individuals, organizations, and even entire ecosystems that AI can introduce if not properly governed. That really set the stage.
Understanding the risks is the first step.
Then we methodically worked our way through the essential pillars of these vital AI controls, based on the AAISM framework: privacy, trust, and safety.
The core components.
We've seen how robust privacy controls, including those key individual rights, safeguard your data and your fundamental agency.
Giving you control.
We explored how transparency, explainability, accountability, and tackling bias all work together to build crucial trust in AI systems.
Making them trustworthy, not just smart.
And we discussed how continuous monitoring, observability tools, and other safety considerations ensure AI systems operate reliably and don't cause unintended harm.
Keeping them safe in operation.
And we just wrapped up by understanding the vital role of human in the loop, moving from that idea of AI as a replacement to AI as a powerful assistant that makes us better, more capable, and more discerning decision makers.
Augmentation, not just automation.
These really aren't just buzzwords, are they? Privacy, trust, safety, HITL, they're actionable, interconnected areas that truly form the bedrock for responsible AI development and deployment.
Absolutely. And this deep dive has hopefully shown that as AI systems become increasingly autonomous, more powerful, and more integrated into our daily lives, from our smartphones to our hospitals to our critical infrastructure, the mechanisms we use for ensuring privacy, building trust, and guaranteeing safety must evolve at the very same pace as the AI capabilities themselves.
We need the governance to keep up with the tech.
Exactly. And this raises an important ongoing question, maybe a final provocation for you, the listener, to consider. As an informed user, or maybe as a professional working in this space, or even as a developer building these systems, what specific steps can you take to advocate for these critical controls in your own sphere of influence?
How can we contribute individually?
Yes. How do we collectively ensure that the incredible pace of innovation in AI is always paired with an equally profound commitment to responsibility? How do we make certain that our AI future is built firmly on a foundation of fairness, transparency, accountability, and safety for everyone? What's your role in that?
That's a powerful thought to leave with, for sure, and one that really highlights our individual and collective roles in shaping this rapidly arriving future. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into AI Guardian.
My pleasure. It's crucial stuff to talk about.
We truly hope this exploration helps you feel more informed, more empowered, and maybe more prepared to navigate our rapidly evolving AI world. We look forward to our next deep dive with you.